In this one, we're going to be turbocharging my Honda in one day. We're going to be taking the non-conventional method, and there's going to be a lot of shortcuts taken, so feel free to drop down in the comments how much you hate my guts after this. This car was already turbocharged at one point, so I already have an entire turbo kit that I'm going to use for this project. But there's a few other things that I want to do with it first. Right over here is the turbo we're using. It's a GTX 3582R ball bearing. It's a knockoff Garrett turbo. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Boosted Boys, but this is the Boosted Boys turbo. So first things first, obviously we're going to have to take off the exhaust here, which I've already taken off the downpipe portion. And we're going to have to put on the turbo manifold, which this is the old manifold I had right here. It's just a cheap cast unit, but it's been sitting around for a while and it's gained some rust, so I think we're going to go ahead and clean that up in the vise before we actually throw this on. And that's going to be good enough. Just wanted to knock the rust off. It doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, went ahead and clean up the turbo flange and the wastegate flange as well. Alright, I'm going to throw this on now. I'm still using this shitty exhaust gasket that is known to suck, but just working with what I have currently today. So we're going to throw that on there. Alright, now that we got the manifold on, I'm going to go ahead and toss the turbo on here. I'm just going to have it loose for now because we still have a few things we're going to have to do. But for mock-up, I want to have the turbo on. And later on, I am going to be reclocking this turbo to sit in a different orientation. But like I said, just for now, we'll keep it there. Next big thing I had for the car was going to be drilling the oil pan out for the bung, which we've already taken the oil pan off. I have a new gasket sitting over there that we're going to replace it with, but I cleaned it up. And you can see where we used to have the pan drilled previously when it used to be turbocharged, which we just welded a plate up. So I imagine I'm going to be drilling somewhere around there to weld my new bung. Well, just have it sitting there somewhere like that. So I'm gonna go get the welder now and weld that in. Alright, so I got the outside welded. I can't really get up in here because of the obvious lip here, so I think I'm just going to try to weld it from the inside and hope that that'll hold. Alright, got the bung welded into the pan now, and it's in a better location than the old one was because this one was right below a bolt hole. So spray that out, clean it out with brake clean before we get it back onto the car. And I got a new gasket to go on as well. Another thing too is I went ahead and deleted my oil cooler from the back of the block, which F-Series and H-Series guys know about these things. They sit in the back of the block. They got coolant that run through them, and then your oil filter sits right on the outside here. I'm deleting it because it's not needed. So really you just take the oil filter off, and then there's this, I believe it's a 22 or 32 mil hex head. You can pull that out. And then from Honda, here's the part number here for this piece. But that threads into the block and then allows you to just put an oil filter on the back, which in my case, we're going to be putting a sandwich plate on and threading this piece to that in the block. Then the oil filter will sit on top of the sandwich plate. So usually when you turbocharge vehicles, you got to upgrade the fuel system too. And I do have a couple pumps here. I got a Walbro 250, and I've got some 1000cc injectors here that are from Hunter Tuned, which those are E85 compatible. But I'm actually not going to be throwing those on in the video today because I only plan on running maybe 5 to 7 pounds of boost. And the stock map and injectors and pump should be good for that. If it isn't, we have options down the road. I finally picked up an H-Series transmission. As mentioned in my last video, I have an H-swapped Accord that still has the stock Accord transmission. And the whole reason I'm doing this is because I want shorter gears. You can see down here, this is a BB6 M2 Y4 H22 transmission out of a 5th gen Lude. Bought it on Marketplace for pretty cheap. It was said to have under 100,000 miles, and when I first got it, it was completely covered in oil, just like most any used Honda parts. So I cleaned it off, sprayed it off with brake clean. I figured why the transmission is out of the car right now, it's a good time to go ahead and rebuild it. But first, we're gonna go ahead and spray it down with some brake clean. All right, got her all masked off. The rebuild of choice is the VHT aluminum. Get an idea of what she's gonna come out like. All right, we're freshened up now. Just gonna let it dry overnight. Come back tomorrow, take all the tape off and everything, and reinstall my shift fork, and it'll be ready to go in the car. Innovative mounts holding up now after about 5 years. Looks like we're starting to get some cracks here. All right, we tussled the old transmission out, and I don't know if you can see, but anyways, that says CD5. This is an Accord transmission, and now it's time to put in the newie. Right here you can see the nice eBaysium clutch that I have installed. And that seems to still be holding up, so I'm just going to keep running that for now. Popped right in. All right, so we just got the new transmission in and finished up. Can't even really see it down there, but it looks a lot nicer than everything else in the car. And we just got done putting some manual trans fluid in, and I think I have everything else buttoned up. Now, first start. Alright, so this is where I removed the oil cooler from. It used to sit right here, and that's the little threaded piece from Honda that you get to delete it. And you can just take the hose from over here, shorten it, and then loop it up around to the back of the water neck. And so now we got my sandwich plate here, which has the feed line for my turbo. And how this is going to work is this is going to sit up against the block on the rubber side here, and then we'll have this little threaded piece that's going to thread into that little adapter there, and then this piece will thread on for the oil filter. So I'm going to quickly throw this on here. Also, we'll route my oil feed line. Go on there, something like that. Start threading in this piece. And you can fully tighten that, and then the sandwich plate will be on, and then you can put your oil filter on just like normal. All right, we got the oil pan zip back on with the new gasket, and I got the sandwich plate on now, and I got the oil cooler deleted. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw the filter back on, since that's now ready. And also, you guys will see this plastic line for my oil pressure sensor. That's an old school one that I've had for a long time. I have a new one coming in the mail sometime later this week, but I didn't want to wait to get it done. I wanted to get a video out for you guys. So this is the oil drain line we had from last time. Let's see if that still fits now. So with the bottom of the turbo being there, it looks like it'll curl around and fit just fine right in the oil pan bung. So I'm gonna zap that on really quick. Alright, so we got the turbo mounted, we got the feed and the drain line on for the oil. I just got a little random kind of setup for the charge piping here. Not going to be using an intercooler with this setup just because we're only looking for a few pounds. So not too worried about the intake air temps. If it ends up being a big issue later on, then we'll get one. But I got my old exhaust pipe. This is the exhaust dump pipe that I made back when it used to be turbocharged, and you can tell how long it's been sitting for. But we're gonna go ahead and throw that on, which that just sits right here with a turbo and then dumps out the side here onto the ground, which that just dumps down onto the ground down there. All right, so we got the whole turbo kit on. Two things here. One, we don't have a wastegate yet. That'll be in the mail here next week or so. So for now, I just plugged it off just for startup. And another thing too is I'm gonna have to order a new oil drain line. Not sure if you can see it from up here, but when I went to go tighten this on, this is that shitty metal line, and it's super stiff. So when I went to go tighten that on, the fitting just rolled out of the actual adapter AN plug there. So gonna need a new one of those. It's gonna be piss and oil for right now. But again, that'll all be next week. So I'm gonna fire it up really quick and see what we got so far. Alright, so as you can see, it is running. I don't want to run it too long because, like I said, that oil drain line is leaking oil. So, gonna get the car backed out, but definitely pulls coming in the next clip. It's definitely making way more power. It's never been able to even do a burnout like that. Another thing, I don't have a boost gauge right now, and the wastegate hole is completely closed off, so it's making everything it can make right now. So I have no idea how many pounds of boost it's making, but again, boost gauge will be here next week. And my goal is really only about 5 to 8 PSI with this thing. So if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. And yeah, the Accord, more videos on the Accord coming very soon.